Blink up, baby. You just hit my line for the wind down. There's only one thing on my mind when you come around me. I get lost in where you found me. Want you to use me. You let her confuse me. Don't wanna hide the fact that you make me feel that way. Want you to give me play. I see it in your eyes, you're lonely. Come put that body on me. I hit it right, I will. I treat you right, I will. Trust me, I got you, baby. Know how to make you feel. They can't do you like I will. Nobody do you like I will. I hit it right, I will. I treat you right, I will. Trust me, I got you, baby. Know how to make you feel. They can't do you like I will. They can't do you like I will. Like I will. up the phone, little baby. You got me up and I'm wavy. You know I want you to myself. You know you've been driving me crazy. Looking me right in the eye and tell me it's mine. If not, I'ma make it that way. You know I want you in a major way. I bless that body, make you share your grace. I've been trying to get you face to face. Wanna fall through and give you ways to waste. I do what it takes. I make them walls sing on your heartstrings. Say your heart. I'll treat you right, I will. Trust me, I got you, baby. Know how to make it feel. I'll treat you right, I will. I hit it right, I will. Trust me, I got you, baby. Know how to make it feel. I hit it right, I will. Trust me, I got you, baby. I'll treat you right, I will.
Yo, what up, y'all? It's your boy Rob coming back at you once again with yet another live stream. So before we get started, you already know what to do. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the bell icon twice. Smash the like button, share this video out to all of your followers, and let's get it cracking, all right? So you guys already know what the deal is. If you guys can hear me okay, everything's sounding good, give me a thumbs up or a radiation emoji in the chat. If you guys cannot hear me, then give me a thumbs down, and I will try to work on getting everything together for you guys. I'm going to shout out to people that's in the building early, all right? Shout out to everybody that's in here. We got Vega in the building. Shout out to Vega. We got Torian. Torian said, isn't this the third live stream? Facts. It's the third live stream, and there's more to come, but those will be coming late night. You know what I'm saying? Give y'all a chance to catch up on these. Shout out to my man Carlton Way. What's good with it? We got Hurricane IQ in the building. Shout out to Embrace Villainy. What's good with it, bro? We got Tone in the building. Shout out to Tone. We got Carla in the house. Shout out to Honda 666. We got Black Woman Stand Up. Shout out to Black Woman Stand Up. And we got my man DSB in the house. All right, so shout out to DSB. So got a lot to talk about as far as the undocumented bros. The undocumented bros might actually get another late night stream because there's so much stuff going on with this insanity. But buses are leaving El Paso, all right, taking migrants to New York, Chicago, and Denver. So we're going to listen to this little news report here real quick.
Resumed buses this as we continue to see a migrant influx in downtown El Paso.
Yeah, and our crew is capturing some of the buses departing El Paso yesterday, but only to select destinations. KTSM 9 News reporter Shelby Cab files this report.
Migrants can be seen lining up to get on buses in downtown El Paso. The city of El Paso says they are communicating with each city the buses are going to.
Now, here's my question. Who's paying for the buses? Here's another question. Who voted for this?
We expected to arrive. So we're coordinating with every city we're sending the buses to. And we bring them here so they can get registered. We get them on the bus. We give them some food for the trip. And then off they go to the destination.
Each bus can hold 45 to 55 people, and they wait until the buses are full to sit.
Now, here goes my question. This is what I want to know from you guys, and I need everybody to tell me this in the chat. How many buses do you all think have been sent out so far? How many buses do y'all think have been sent out so far? We'll eventually get there, but let me know what you guys think.
Send them to their destination. As we've reported, migrants have been staying around San Jacinto Plaza, and the city has roving teams going to let them know about the options of buses, saying the migrants going to the buses have been processed by Border Patrol and have the proper documents to move further into the U.S.
So we have roving teams that are out there explaining to them the process and helping them out get to the shelters or come over here.
This family from Venezuela says they have a bus ticket and are headed to Chicago Friday morning.
Oh, you know that's a me no black family. Shout out to DeAndre. What's good with it? You know that's a me no black family. You know what I'm saying?
Yo y mi esposa, my wife, destination in Chicago. So the help that they're providing helps us a lot, as well as our companions, because all of us were in need in other countries, and we don't want to go through that again.
Man, they waiting. That family right there, you know for a fact, that family right there waiting to prove to somebody that they ain't black.
was Shelby Cap reporting, and the buses are being paid for with FEMA funds and by the Texas Department of Emergency.
So the buses are being paid for by FEMA funds and the Texas Department of Emergency Preparedness. So now here it says the city of El Paso, in coordination with Texas Department of Emergency Management, is busing migrants out of El Paso. The city offers buses to New York, Chicago, and Denver to get migrants to their final destination or to a closer to a bigger transportation hub. I mean, like, I'm not trying to be funny, man, but this is like a national witness protection program. Shout out to Caldona B1. What's good with it, bro? This is like a federal witness protection program. You know what I'm saying? The buses are leaving from the Union Depot in downtown El Paso off of Paisano. Okay. Each bus can hold 45 to 55 people, and the city is working to fill each bus before it leaves its destination. A spokesperson for the El Paso Office of Emergency Management says that they are in communication with the cities to let them know how many migrants are coming and when the buses are expected to arrive. So now this is interesting, right? Because they really don't talk about the coordination of this. In many cases, they kind of just present this as if it's uncoordinated and they have no idea when this kind of stuff is going to happen. So basically, this kind of just goes over everything that they talked about in the video. I'm recognizing that, you know, it kind of sounds the same. So we don't need to waste any time with that because, like I said, busy day. You know what I'm saying? Black light revelations, the black light offices are booming. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be busy. Got a lot of business today. So let's check out this next video, all right? Because it's going down in Chicago. And shout out to TD Hip Hop Media. Hopefully, if you guys are subscribed to TD Hip Hop Media, you guys will be able to watch the stream that he has planned at 2 o'clock, because when this live stream is done, it will take you directly into there. So don't move a muscle. All right. And if you're not subscribed to TD Hip Hop Media, make sure that you guys hang tight after this stream, and it'll take you right into the live stream that's going down at 2 o'clock p.m. All right, so let's check this out. And again, that's the live stream on TD Hip Hop Media. After that live stream at 2 o'clock, just talking with TD and Rob. You know what I'm saying?
Well, this is new video of migrants on move-in day at a newly opened shelter in the Pilsen neighborhood. Like so many other shelters across the city, this one was met with some protest from neighbors. And that same drama is playing out tonight over a park on the west side.
Now, let me ask you guys a question. Isn't it interesting how everybody has been complaining about immigration and migrants for years, but as soon as the black people in these areas where they're dropping these migrants off at, as soon as they start complaining about it, everybody goes silent? Has anybody noticed that? If you guys noticed that, then give me a thumbs up. If you guys haven't noticed that, then give me a thumbs down. Isn't that interesting? Not too many people are saying too much. Jim Crow Joe says, what about black on black crime? What about familicide? You know what I'm saying?
Turn the buses around. Turn the buses around.
You want to take the little scraps
Oh,
of resources that we
look.
have and put us at the bottom of the barrel?
Jim Crow Joe said, what about quesadillas? Don't you love quesadillas? Man, listen, I love quesadillas, but here go the thing, though. I know how to make them. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I know how to make them, so I don't need to export that labor out. You know what I'm saying? Now, shout out to these people here in Chicago, right? Because these people in Chicago seem like they're understanding a lot of the talking points that the new black media has been putting in a lot of work to get people to understand. So I want you guys to pay very close attention to what these people are saying here at these meetings. So now it's kind of interesting, right? Because the question is, how is the white media going to try to frame this as far as quote unquote liberal and liberalism? Now, if you ask me, they're going to do the same thing that they always do and just literally continue to repeat a bunch of incomprehensible babble in order to appease their viewers while not making sense. And of course, not showing any original video clips from this kind of situation here. You know what I'm saying? Because the thing is that there's been how long where the white media has been showing anti-gun protests in Chicago and saying that it was BLM protests. And in reality, when you do further investigation, these are neighborhood improvement protests and and anti-gun, anti-violence protests, and mainstream media like Fox and the Washington Examiner and the New York Post have been lying, utilizing those pictures, utilizing that video footage, and saying that they were BLM riots. So the great revealing is coming. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is that they got to do as much as they can to try to hide all of this misinformation that they've been putting out over the years.
Turn the buses around. Turn the buses around.
You want to take the little scraps of resources that we have and put us at the bottom of the barrel? That's not fair.
In Galewood, tensions are running high over a plan to turn the Admonson Park Fieldhouse into a shelter.
Yeah, that proposal is angering residents who packed into a meeting tonight that was standing room only.
Casey Cronitz has that part of the story.
Tonight's meeting was contentious, rowdy, and left hundreds of residents with unanswered questions. Their main fear that when migrants move in, park programming and youth activities for this community will be stripped away. Within seconds of city officials taking the microphone, community members.
Man, it's a majority black people in there, and they're on it. You know what I'm saying? It's a look at that room right there. Now they'll sit there and say that black people aren't involved in politics. But now here's my question: what's this? Black people don't do politics. You will even hear a lot of YouTubers, unfortunately, sadly, black YouTubers who, you know, go with the propaganda so they can get some extra money, sit there and say that they're not into politics. You know what I'm saying? But look at them. Here they are. And shout out to my man, Ryan Glenn. Ryan Glenn says, I'm here for it. Long overdue. I agree. Now, this is the thing. Now, here go my thing, right? Dr. Claude Anderson has been pretty accurate. Would you guys agree? If you guys agree that Dr. Claude Anderson has been pretty accurate over the years, then give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree and you think that Dr. Claude Anderson kind of missed the bullseye, then give me a thumbs down. If you ask me, I think that Dr. Claude Anderson has been damn near 99.9% accurate. So my thing is that if I was people, one thing that I would do is I would brush up on all the Dr. Claude Anderson videos. I would brush up on all the Powernomics books and Dirty Little Secrets and all of that stuff before election season 2022 or 2024, because Dr. Claude Anderson is accurate. I mean, he literally was talking about how they're going to send all these migrants here, and, you know, here they are. You know what I'm saying?
Seconds of city officials taking the microphone. Community members anxious to speak their minds took center stage.
If you would had your right mind and see a crowd like this, you would say to yourself, they don't want it. And we're not anti-migrants, but it should be on our backs.
Still unclear when approximately 200 migrants might be moving in.
Now, here go the thing, right? I find it interesting that this is one of the reasons why white people want you to take quote unquote race out of it. Look at how few white people are here. So this isn't a problem that a lot of white neighborhoods have to deal with. In some places in New York, you know, Staten Island, they have those issues. But in most places, they're dumping these people right in majority FBA neighborhoods. So now, you know, white people want you to say, well, let's take race out of it, because if you're looking at the factors of what neighborhoods are getting these people dumped into them, if you take race out of it, then what neighborhoods are getting people dumped into it? So anytime white people say, oh, well, why are you bringing up race? It's because they're attempting to get away from the actual meat of what's going on in the situation that you're discussing. I mean, it's very clear that this is a majority of black people. So what if I'm talking to a white person, I'm supposed to be quote unquote race sensitive to that white person and not mention the fact that there's race involved in this? I don't believe that we should show any grace or any consideration that hasn't been shown to us. The creation of the idea of race was created to cause us issues. So I don't really feel sorry for how comfortable or uncomfortable it makes somebody if I'm discussing issues that revolve around race. Would you guys agree? If you guys agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down.
29th Ward Alderman Chris Taliaferro, who says he is strongly opposed to the plan, tried to settle tensions. But neighbors say programs for youth and elderly residents are at risk if their field house becomes a sanctuary.
A lot of these young boys, they don't have fathers. So a lot of these coaches, they are their fathers. They spend part of their weekend here alone during the week. That keeps them a safe place. It gets them mentorship. It shows them discipline.
Hours before the meeting, neighbors held a protest outside, blasting the plan.
We ain't having that. No. You want to tell us what to do in our park? You cannot do that. We pay our money.
Some calling.
Now, and then the thing is that even if you listen to this, despite the fact that these are legitimate gripes, all white people are sitting here saying is victim, victim, victim. These people, quote unquote, want to come here to work. How do you come here and get free rent, but you want to come here and work? They're not coming here on work visas. They're not coming here legally. What if you just decided to dump your entire family into somebody's living room? How do you think that would go over?
For more transparency from the 5th floor.
And what I want to say is to Mayor Brandon Johnson, we are disappointed in you.
I don't know why anybody is disappointed in Brandon Johnson. We warned people about Brandon Johnson. Brandon Johnson is an NPC and an idiot. Yep, facts, Torian. That's exactly what they'll say. Or, well, that's what they voted for. Send them anyway. Right.
This is the community that supported you. How dare you?
We've reached out to Mayor Brandon Johnson.
Well, that's what they do, ma'am. She's not very happy, is she? Let's look at that again. That much rage deserves a replay. Don't you guys think?
And what I want to say is to Mayor Brandon Johnson, we are disappointed in you. This is the community that supported you. How dare you?
Oh, man, I feel bad for Brandon Johnson. I feel bad for Brandon Johnson. Actually, I don't.
We've reached out to Mayor Brandon Johnson's office for his response to the community's reaction, but have not yet heard back. Reporting from the Amundsen Park Fieldhouse, Casey Cronin, Fox 32, Chicago.
Now, I got a question for you guys. Here go my question. How many lines of cocaine do you guys think that she sniffs before she gets started with her day at work? 1 or 2? Let me know. Put it in the comment section. 1 line or 2 lines? She looks like a 2-liner. She like a double liner to me. She got that. She got that positive. She do that positive C19. She got that double line. You know what I'm saying? So what we about to do next? Oh, you said damn 10, at least 3. She is kind of wired. Maybe you're right. Shout out to Iron Will. What's good with it, bro? Shout out to Leonard. What's good with y'all? Yeah, yeah, shit. DC Precise says 2.5. You think she gets stuck in the middle? Denise said all the lines. She doing all the lines. That's hilarious.
10 more buses carrying migrants will arrive in Chicago today.
The men, women, and children on board will join more than 3,000 other migrants who are already waiting for housing. Some could end up in the city's newest shelter, set to open in Galewood.
CBS 2 Sade Gray live inside the Amundsen Park Fieldhouse, where a community meeting begins in 1 hour. Sade?
Yeah, Joe and Erica, residents are beyond.
So I think that this empty gym here is the community meeting that we just watched.
Upset because this is an area where they would gather for senior programs and other events, but now that will be taken all away from them so asylum seekers can have a roof over their head.
We're taxpayers. They're not paying taxes. It's not fair to us.
We're not anti-migrants, but we shouldn't have to suffer.
Frustration from Galewood residents, some who have lived here for decades.
I've been in my house 37 years, and I don't understand why we're being affected like this.
Amundsen Park Advisory Council member Donald Glover says they put a lot of money into the field house.
Every air conditioner in this whole building, we bought them. Refrigerator, stove, microwave, we bought it.
They've asked for the showers to be fixed, and now they work.
Now they can fix up the showers in there today. She's been asking for work, plumbing, and everything else. For how long?
29th Ward Alderman Chris Taliaferro says the mayor's office told him 4 days ago this was happening, whether he likes it or not.
So that's interesting, right? Their elected official. When is the last time that an elected official told white people that something was happening, whether they like it or not? That's kind of bold. Wouldn't you guys say? Now that's Mayor Brandon Johnson who's making those assertions. This is gonna happen whether you like it or not. Let me ask you guys a question. How many people think that they put Mayor Brandon Johnson in office for him to behave like that and for them to be treated that way? And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to everybody that's watching. We got 34 people watching and we got 26 likes. If everybody could bang on that like button and get us over 40, that'd be great. Shout out to Yoshimori. What's good with you, bro?
told them right away that I objected to it because there had been no community engagement. And the response given to me was, you're getting it.
The mayor's office told him all park programs would be canceled. Initially, he was told 125 migrants would move in. Today, he says a representative from the mayor's office said it would be 275.
Just imagine this, right? You've been paying taxes here because remember, we have to talk about this in terms of what white people want to believe. White people would like to believe that literally this entire community doesn't work. Now, we all know that that's not true, but we all know that that's what they believe. You know what I'm saying? But clearly, many people in this community are very much employed, and many people in this community are very much employed. So they've been paying all this taxpayer money, and also they voted in an elected official, and the elected official is not doing the job of the people. So now my question is, how should the people respond to this?
We have to have compassion as we lead. We have to make sure that we look out for their well-being, their housing, their safety. But still, we have to make sure that our residents are engaged and involved.
The residents may not have a say in what's happening, but they told us they will have a say about the mayor and others in the voting booth.
Think about this. Why would the residents not have a say in what's going on? Think about that. That's crazy. Shout out to Ghost Walker. What's good with it, bro? Think about that. This is the mayor that they elected, and this is what he's doing. That's wild. The news is just literally saying these people don't have a say.
Now we're going to vote them out of office.
The alderman says he's afraid with the park programs closing that will lead to a repeat of a teen takeover downtown. He says migrants might move in sometime this weekend. Reporting live in Gilwood, Sade Gray, CBS 2 News.
So even on their last dying limb, those aldermen will still use anti-black white supremacist talking points. If it's not for this shelter, then the teens are going to take over downtown. Seriously? Seriously? But remember, that's the alderman that said that. You guys just heard him say that. You know what I'm saying? So now what we're about to look at next is we're going to look at Governor J.B. Weirdo Pritzker, all right? And how many people have seen that video that I made called Pritzker Family Business? If you guys haven't seen that video called Pritzker Family Business, I'd advise people to take a look at it because the Pritzkers are shady. How many people remember that video that I did, a live stream called Pritzker Family Business? If you guys recall that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't, then give me a thumbs down. Now, J.B. Pritzker is upset. He's crying. I don't know if you saw TD Hip Hop Media's video. Shout out to TD Hip Hop Media. And believe it or not, we didn't coordinate this, but he actually talked about J.B. Pritzker and the MPC Brandon Johnson as well. All right. The MPC Brandon Johnson is just sitting there like a lifeless, soulless meat sack like he usually does, just saying anything that makes no sense whatsoever. And J.B. Pritzker is crying because he doesn't feel that Biden's response to the border crisis is sufficient, which we all know that it isn't because it's Biden's border crisis. He's the one that's coordinating most of the migrants coming in. You know what I'm saying? So now J.B. Pritzker is crying about this, and Mayor Brandon Johnson, just like Mayor Eric Adams, are probably about to be in the mayoral unemployment offices soon.
Some state and city officials are warning the amount of migrants coming to Chicago every day could more than double in the next few days.
That information comes as a Southwest Side community meets to discuss a new planned migrant shelter. And WGN's Jenna Barnes is joining us live with that story. That's a big number, Jenna.
It sure is, Ray and Micah. We know 7 new buses arrived today, and tonight we learned city officials believe that number could grow to 25 buses a day in the coming weeks. This is
25 buses a day. Shout out to Lewis Knowles, B1. 25 buses a day is what the number is going to grow to. Now, let me ask you guys a question. How many people have heard about what's going on in the New York City hospital system? If you guys have heard about that, then give me a thumbs up. If you guys have not heard about that, then give me a thumbs down. Shout out to you, Roots Trackers. What's good with it? I'm going to try to get that stream that I do tonight. It'll probably be late night tonight. I mean, late night. I'm talking about like 3 o'clock in the morning. So a lot of y'all might not be able to catch it until the replay. But we're going to be talking about the New York City hospital systems and what's going on with them because they're completely overwhelmed. Shout out to Mama Zeke. Now, here's my question. If the hospital systems are overwhelmed, how do you care for the residents of your locality with those hospitals having all of their resources strained to capacity? That's the question.
Tonight, tempers flared as the city unveiled its plan to open its first shelter here in Pilsen tomorrow.
I'm not going to be a refugee.
Pushback in Pilsen against the city's plan to start moving 400 migrants into the South Halsted building, the facility that backs up.
I'm just in a lot of these situations, it's a lot of these people that have issues with the migrants. A lot of them are other Latinos. A lot of the Latinos are against this as well. So I find that interesting. They really don't talk about that very much. But you see that a lot. A lot of the right-wing politicians, a lot of the politicians that are having issues with this, a lot of those politicians down in Texas, like that mayor of Eagle Pass, he's Latino and he's not really feeling this whole situation. You know what I'm saying?
The Dan Ryan could eventually house more than 1,000.
This will be the first city-sanctioned shelter in the world.
Alderman Byron Sigcho Lopez recognizing that some residents in his ward may not welcome this facility with open arms. Homeowners here, many of them immigrants themselves, are facing skyrocketing property taxes.
See, so the people that's immigrants already there, that's mad. They mad. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to X-Rated Wallow and shout out to Georgia Girl. What's good with y'all? See, I'm just saying, I'm just keeping it a buck.
A lot of people has anger, has a lot of frustration about a lot of things.
But the city is running out of room for the flood of migrants arriving daily. The Pilsen shelter will house families, prioritizing those who've been living at police stations.
Those stations are really at capacity. They've been at capacity, and people are sleeping on the floor and outside.
The new shelter opens as.
But again, like that's nobody's fault. That's nobody's problem. Like nobody told them to come here. Nobody told them to come here. You guys heard those loudspeakers in New York City. Don't come here. It's not safe here.
State calls on the federal government for help. Governor J.B. Pritzker urging President Joe Biden to act, writing in a new letter.
So now here goes my question. You see, is everyone gonna get an article written about them like how Mayor Eric Adams got an article written about him? Because now J.B. Craterface Pritzker is complaining about this as well. You see where it looks like one of the space shuttles landed right by his right ear? You know what I'm saying? It says the federal government's lack of intervention and coordination at the border has created an untenable solution for Illinois. I guarantee you that no one is going to talk about J.B. Craterface Pritzker. And the reason why they're not going to talk about him is because the Pritzker family donates billions of dollars to Democrat politicians. Matter of fact, J.B. Pritzker and his family donated so much money to the Democrat politicians that they were under investigation because they assumed that it broke some type of rule. There was an article, I want to say maybe like a year or two ago in the Chicago Tribune about it.
The federal government's lack of intervention and coordination at the border has created an untenable situation for Illinois. There is much more that can and must be done on the federal level to address a national humanitarian crisis that is currently being shouldered by state and local governments without support. Among his list of requests is more money for housing, food, and social services.
So again, J.B. Pritzker is in the same situation as Mayor Eric Adams. J.B. Pritzker doesn't want this situation to go away. He definitely wants all the migrants. You know what I'm saying? He wants everybody here, right? He's not doing anything to turn anybody away. All he wants is more resources so that he can compile on top of what's already going on. You know what I'm saying? That's what he's doing.
The city is also asking the state for more help.
It's critical that we work in partnership through the state, who has not added any shelters in the state of Illinois.
Navigating a growing crisis as winter approaches.
We run out of space and we don't have any other municipalities. You know, we could be looking at tragedies.
We learned tonight.
This entire situation is a tragedy. If you guys think that this entire situation is a tragedy, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't, then give me a thumbs down. And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to everybody that's watching. We got 43 people watching. If everybody can take a moment, smash that like button. Also, if you guys haven't hit the bell and subscribe to the channel, please take a moment, hit the bell and subscribe to the channel. And also, please share the stream to your social media.
There are currently 23 city shelters in operation. They're housing about 10,000 people. 3,000 are still living at the police stations and the airports. We're live in Pilsen tonight. Jenna Barnes, WGN News.
Now, here go my question. How many of those people that are living at the police stations currently do you all think that they'll recruit to be a part of the police station? If you ask me, they're probably going to give a bunch of those anti-black immigrants jobs because they already were making it so that the undocumented bros are able to work as police officers, which is odd. I mean, not really if you understand the kind of system and the kind of world that we're living in, but that's what they're doing, making up rules as they go. I think I saw somebody say that in the comment section. I think it was Black Lightning, or maybe it was yeah, shout out to Black Lightning. Black Lightning said broke a rule that they'll literally make up. Yeah, that's what they do. Literally all of this is rules that they make up as they go. And shout out to my man DeAndre enforcing those likes. Shout out to the likes enforcers. You know what I'm saying? We got the likes enforcers in the building. Make sure y'all show the likes enforcers some love.
The migrant crisis in Chicago is boiling over. City officials continue to clash over what to do next. And Mayor Brandon Johnson says he is planning a trip down to the border.
NBC5's Lisa Chavarria joins us live here in studio. And Lisa, all of this is happening.
So shout out to Brandon Johnson because he's going to go down to the border and not solve any problems. He's going to sit there and look like he just got hit with that ray gun that Tommy Lee Jones had on Men in Black that literally melts your brain out and makes you not remember anything, because that's just Brandon Johnson's normal mode of operation. He's a hollow human.
Happening as even more buses arrived last night.
Right, 22 buses yesterday, guys. So we're talking about a lot of people here. The issue is, where do asylum seekers stay? The city is placing them all across Chicago, and it's being met with plenty of pushback from residents.
I know we're supposed to have body positivity and all that, but I just want to shout this rectangular shaped woman out.
These communities. Meanwhile, Mayor Brandon Johnson says he wants to head south to see what's happening firsthand.
My administration is committed to making sure that we are putting together the full force of government at every single level to ensure that.
Why the Mohawk? Why the Mohawk, ladies and gentlemen? Shout out to Jesse Pierce. Why the Mohawk? This is ridiculous. Never vote anybody in that has a Mohawk. You guys see this? This should have been a red flag right there. You see that little point right on top of his head? Don't vote somebody in that looks like this next time. You know what I'm saying? If somebody's head is shaped like a Hershey Kiss, do not vote them in, please. That means Hershey kiss your ass goodbye. And that's what's going on right now. He do look like Gumby. He got one of them old school, like, Kool Moe Dee, Bobby Brown type Gumby haircuts. Like, come on, bruh. Oh, man. Don't do it. We back at the L7 here.
my administration is committed to making sure that we are putting together the full force of government at every single level to ensure that these families, who, by the way, they're not illegal, they're asylum seekers.
He should be taking.
How are they? Let me shut up. They're crossing the border illegally. Did you see how he was smiling? They're not illegal. They are illegal, dummy, just like your hair is illegal. The Border Patrol needs to come and take care of them, and the fashion police need to come and take your ass away. Look at that shit right there.
Seekers.
He should be taking himself to helping the community here and making sure that he is handling the crisis that's here.
At this point, the mayor didn't say when a trip like that down to the border would take place, but he also says a team with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security is in Chicago right now, taking a closer look at the severity of the ongoing crisis. The city is now also facing a lawsuit brought by two members of the South Shore Community Group.
I'm not mad at the South Shore Community Group. Make sure you guys throw some radiation emoji in the chat for the South Shore Community Group filing this lawsuit. Remember, this is this kind of stuff that I say that people should do, because this is if there was some money about to be given to the FBA people there, all of these Latinos, all of these Asians, all of these, even these illegal people would all get together and file a lawsuit to try to block any kind of money or any kind of anything that was going to be given to the black people. We saw that happen in Oregon during the C-19 crisis. During the C-19 crisis, a white group and an Asian group tried to block, well, actually they did block the funding that was allocated specifically for black businesses. They do this stuff all the time. So shout out to them for getting in the way of it and tying it up in litigation. This is one of the things that people need to start weaponizing. Weaponize the chronology of time in litigation. Start learning how to be a player hater. You know what I'm saying?
They held a meeting to talk about the issues they're experiencing with a closed high school turned into a migrant shelter.
The first thing that this lawsuit is about is for South Shore High School to reopen as a high school. We're calling on the mayor and the governor to freeze the language of Sanctuary City.
This group is also calling for an audit to take a look deeper into how the city is spending the money allocated to help the migrants.
That's a good idea. If you guys think that that's a good idea, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't think that is a good idea, give me a thumbs down. I guarantee you that they'll see a lot of missing funds when they do this audit. If they even do the audit, I guarantee you the government will try to block it or say it's unconstitutional somehow.
According to the latest numbers from Chicago's Office of Emergency Management and Communications, there are nearly 10,000 migrants in shelters, with more than 3,000 still waiting to be placed. Now, guys, excuse me, Michelle and JC, this is not including the latest arrivals from Texas yesterday.
So some more migrants came from Texas. Now, here goes my question. Shout out to the title of the stream. What do you guys think about the quote-unquote Biden border wall? How many people have heard about the Biden border wall? If you guys heard about the Biden border wall, give me a thumbs up. If you guys didn't hear about the Biden border wall, then give me a thumbs down. Biden border wall, ladies and gentlemen. The Biden administration waives 26 federal laws to allow border wall construction in South Texas. My. Aren't we changing our tune? Aren't we changing our tune? Now, the border wall may help, right? But I've seen these people climb over this border wall like they do in parkour. I mean, they climb that damn thing like they Spider-Man. So I don't know how effective this is, but it's a start, right? Now, here goes the thing. We already talked about this in terms of numbers, right? What they need to do is they need to reduce all of the numbers of people at the points of contact. They need to reduce the amount of people coming from the Central America to Mexico borders. They need to reduce the people coming from the Mexico to Texas border. And they also need to decrease the amount of people circulating at the border. All those numbers need to go down. And once all of those numbers go down, they will be able to have a little bit more of a manageable situation. However, I don't even know if anybody's tracking those numbers. And the reason why they're not tracking those numbers is because they're only calling this a crisis for media purposes, in my opinion. In my opinion, I don't believe that they're actually looking at this as a crisis. In my opinion, I believe that this is going as planned. You guys can let me know how you feel about that in the comment section. If you guys agree or disagree, I got to agree with Maggie. Maggie says Border Patrol is letting them run on purpose, raking the warriors and rewiring everything. Then you hear the migrants say, "Thank you, my brother. I really appreciate it," in Spanish. Yeah, I saw a video where they were fist bumping the migrants. Did you guys see that? If you guys saw that fist bumping the migrants, then give me the thumbs up. If you guys didn't, then give me a thumbs down. You know what I'm saying? And I got to agree with Black Lightning, right? Because if you guys saw those videos, the majority of the people that it showed in the videos look like males that were coming over, right? And another thing about the situation that is very interesting is that how do you get through the most dangerous place allegedly in South America? Allegedly the most dangerous place in South America is that Darien Gap. How many people, you probably heard about that in the news recently, the quote unquote Darien Gap. Everybody's heard about the Darien Gap. These people are crossing the Darien Gap like they're just walking over a puddle. That is rainforest with like 30-foot long anacondas, big giant alligators, poisonous fish, and indigenous tribes of people down there that are still, you know what I'm saying, like rubbing darts on frogs and shooting them at people. How are you getting through that without no military training? You know what I'm saying? Got to ask those questions, but nobody's asking those questions though. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's really asking those questions. So now here it says the Biden administration waives 26 federal laws to allow the border wall construction in South Texas. Now, how many people have heard Biden actually go over this or discuss any of this? I just decided to waive some laws so that they could go ahead with the construction of Trump's wall. I didn't hear him do a press conference about this. Maybe he slept in. Maybe he took too much damn Benadryl and forgot. But you would think that somebody who is pro open borders like Joe Biden would actually come and address this, because people are going to ask the question, well, I thought you were pro open borders. Now, all of a sudden, you want to extend the building of the Trump wall? That's kind of counterintuitive. You want to explain anything about it? No, I can't even find my way to the podium. Can't even find my damn way to the podium. You know what I'm saying? The Biden administration announced that it waived 26 federal laws in South Texas to allow border wall construction on Wednesday, marking the administration's first use of sweeping executive power employed often during the Trump presidency. So that's interesting, right? So what we need to do is take a look at this sweeping executive power and say, oh, he used it. Now, that's something that he said that he specifically wouldn't do when it came to doing things for Black people. So this is something that he said that he couldn't do, that he's doing. You know what I'm saying? The Department of Homeland Security posted the announcement on the U.S. Federal Registry with a few details outlining the construction in Starr County, Texas, which is part of a busy border patrol sector seeing high illegal entry. According to government data, about 245,000 illegal entries have been recorded so far this fiscal year in the Rio Grande Valley sector, which contains about 21 counties. There is presently an acute and immediate need to construct physical barriers and roads in the vicinity of the border of the U.S. in order to prevent unlawful entries into the United States in the project areas. Alejandro Mayorkas, the DHS secretary, stated in the notice. So now, if the DHS, Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas is saying this, then what is Brandon Johnson talking about in that video clip that we just watched when he said that these people, quote unquote, aren't illegal? What is he talking about? Clearly right here, it says that there's increased illegal activity, which is one of the reasons why Biden, slow behind, decided to start putting action on that wall. So now here it says the Clean Air Act, Safe Drinking Water Act, and Endangered Species Act were some of the federal laws waived by the DHS to make way for construction that will use funds from a congressional appropriation in 2019 for border wall construction. Now, that's interesting. The Clean Air Act, Safe Drinking Water Act, and Endangered Species Act. What the hell do any of that have to do with building a damn wall to stop immigration? To stop illegal immigration, I should say. Does that make any sense? If that makes sense, then give me a thumbs up. If it doesn't make any sense, then give me a thumbs down. The waivers avoid time-consuming reviews and lawsuits challenging violation of environmental laws. Oh, I thought this was the I thought this was the green people. I thought these were the pro-environment people here. What happened? I guess they're tired of the illegal, quote-unquote, pollution. Starr County hilly ranchlands sitting between Zapata and McAllen, Texas, is home to about 65,000 residents, sparsely populating about 1,200 square miles, which is 3,108 square kilometers, that form part of the Lower Rio Grande National Wildlife Refuge. Although no maps were provided in the announcement, CBP announced the project in June and began gathering public comments in August when it shared a map of additional construction that can add up to 20 miles to the existing border barrier system in the area. Starr County Judge Elroy Vera said it will start south of the Falcon Dam and go past Salineo, Texas. The other concern that we have is that the area is highly erosive. There's a lot of arroyos. Eloy Vera, the county judge, said, pointing out the creeks cutting through the ranch land and leading into the river. Concern is shared with environmental advocates who say structures will run through the public lands, habitats of endangered plants and species like ocelot, and which like ocelot, which is a spotted wild cat. Okay. A plan to build a wall through will bulldoze an impermeable barrier straight through the heart of that habitat. It will stop wildlife migration dead in their tracks. I mean, what about human migration? I'm thinking that it's probably trying to stop human migration dead in its tracks as well. You know what I'm saying? Would you guys agree? Shout out to John Guillory. What's good with it, bro? It will destroy a huge amount of wildlife refugee land, and it's a horrific step backwards for the borderlands. Lakin Jordal, a Southwest conservation advocate for the Center for Biological Diversity, said Wednesday afternoon. During the Trump administration, about 450 miles, which is 724 kilometers of barriers, were built along the southwest border between 2017 and 2021. Texas Governor Greg Abbott renewed those efforts after the Biden administration halted them at the start of his presidency. So now let's ask this question. Why did Biden halt the construction of the border wall? That's my question for you guys. What do you guys think? Why did Biden halt the construction of the border wall? The DHS decision on Wednesday contrasts the Biden administration's posturing when a proclamation to end the construction on January 20th of 2021 stated building a massive wall that spans the entire southern border is not a serious policy solution. Okay, so now here's my question. What is a serious policy solution? In a statement Wednesday, CBP said the project is consistent with that 2021 proclamation. Congress appropriated fiscal year 2019 funds for the construction of border barrier in the Rio Grande Valley, and DHS is required to use those funds for their appropriate purpose, the statement said. CBP remains committed to protecting the nation's cultural and natural resources and will implement sound environmental practices as part of the project covered by this waiver. So now my question is, why do you all feel that the Biden administration emergently decided to implement this? That's my question. And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to everybody watching. If you guys haven't smashed the like button, please take a moment. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Also, if you guys haven't hit the bell, please make sure you guys hit the bell and subscribe. And also, please share the stream to your social media. All right. So now here says the announcement prompted political debate by the Democratic administration facing an increase of migrants entering through the southern border in recent months, including thousands who entered the U.S. through Eagles Pass at the end of September. A border wall is a 14th century solution to a 21st century problem. It will not bolster border security in Starr County. U.S. Representative Henry Cuellar said in a statement, "I continue to stand against the wasteful spending of taxpayer dollars on an ineffective border wall." What about running electricity through it? What do you guys think about running electricity through the border wall? Political proponents of the border wall said the waiver should be used as a launching pad for a shift in policy. After years of denying that a border wall and other physical barriers are effective, the DSH announcement represents a sea change in the administration's thinking. A secure wall is an effective tool for maintaining control of our borders. Dan Stein, president of the Federation for American Immigration Reform, said in a statement. Having made that concession, the administration needs to immediately begin construction of a wall across the border to prevent the illegal traffic from simply moving to other areas of the border, which is exactly what's been going on. And let me ask you guys a question. Who is coordinating those movements of the quote unquote illegal traffic to other areas of the border? Who's doing that? We talked about it. They even wrote an article about this in the BBC. The entire world is looking at us like we're crazy. Biden approves new section of border wall as Mexico crossings rise. So now let me ask you guys a question. do you guys think that the Biden administration should have to answer for this? I want to start seeing Joe Biden come to some of these. I want to see some damn debates. I want to see Biden explain his positions, which usually isn't upright if it requires him to do two things at once. He somehow always ends up on the floor, but whatever. You know what I'm saying? So for the most part, you know, this is just about the same as what we just read. This is just from the BBC. Route of barrier between U.S. and Mexico. So we got going from San Diego here. You guys can see right there all the way to the Rio Grande Valley sector. And this part that's not blue here is the part that doesn't have border wall. You know what I'm saying? That's the same. It should be at the least a similar map to the map that's on the thumbnail. All right. So now Brandon, the NPC Johnson, is going to plan a southern border trip. Now, let me ask you guys a question. How many times do you think he's going to change his facial expression? Do you think he's going to change his facial expression at all? Because Brandon Johnson has a way of really sitting there looking confused. It's actually kind of irritating. You know what I'm saying? It's actually kind of irritating how Brandon Johnson just sits there with that damn point on his head, looking like a damn a knoll, a garden gnome. You know what I'm saying? That's dressed like a Chi-Town hustler. You know what I'm saying? Not doing anything. So let's see what they're talking about right here. He's supposed to go to the border, and he's just gonna sit there looking like a damn empty vessel. Let's see what they say here. He's gonna be like, we need to prepare the city for our migrant visitors. That's just gonna be something that you guys who voted me in and pay taxes are going to have to deal with. And then just literally sitting there staring into the twilight.
Tanya Terrell, ABC7 has confirmed that Homeland Security officials are meeting with some city council members today, along with Mayor Johnson's office. They plan to discuss Mayor Johnson's upcoming trip to the southern border. The mayor says he wants to visit the border to see the conditions there firsthand as the city's migrant crisis grows. But he has not offered any details on when. Alderman Brian Hopkins writing on social media saying a busload of migrants has arrived at Sears, Willis Tower if you prefer. Building management was not expecting them and says they can't stay in the lobby. And the mayor says as many as 22 busloads of migrants could be arriving daily.
We still have public safety that we have to address.
We still have public safety that we have to address. Who voted for Brandon Johnson? Who voted for that pinhead?
We still have the unhoused that we have to address. I still have a budget that I have to address. I am going to the border as soon as possible.
This comes as city officials at weekly community meetings continue to face pushback on plans to open new shelters. In South Shore, residents and community activists accused the mayor of stripping neighborhoods.
Now, let me ask you guys a question. Do you all agree that the mayor is stripping the neighborhoods? If you guys feel that they are, then give me a thumbs up. If you guys feel that they are not, then give me a thumbs down. I believe that they are. I agree with the people in the neighborhoods. And I agree, Janine. That's a great question. Why aren't these mayors leaning on their congressional representatives or senators? That's a great question. Probably because they're idiots.
Of resources.
I supported Mayor Brandon Johnson. I feel like a fool right now.
Yes.
I feel like a plum fool.
I am not mad at her, man. At least she's keeping it a buck. Everybody makes mistakes. You know what I'm saying? And being honest about your mistakes and learning from your mistakes and making sure that you don't make the same mistake is very important. So I'm not mad at this woman that she has been observant and is verbalizing that she's been betrayed, because when people say that they expected something different that they didn't get, that legitimizes what we're saying as far as these representatives do not represent us. They say that they're going to do one thing and they do something else. You know what I'm saying? Now, here goes the thing, right? A lot of times, you know, people have been warned about the Democrats and, you know what I'm saying? And you know, people continue to vote for the Democrats. But if you ask me, what is most important is the progression and the learning curve. And to hear a woman, you know what I'm saying, like her, express that publicly, unapologetically on TV, if you ask me, is a huge step. And it shows progress. And, you know, everybody's made mistakes. The fact that people coming around from the mistakes and talking about it and not being afraid to talk about it on the media, if you ask me, that is a very big step. All of these people coming to these meetings, you know what I'm saying? All of these people invested in what's going on in their neighborhood around them. Shout out to them. Because if you listen to the narrative, a lot of people will just sit there and say that people are not involved in politics. If you're not involved in politics, then how do you get a big ass high school gym full of black people sitting there running the damn mayor out of the building? You know what I'm saying? So these are all false narratives that you hear on YouTube, you know what I'm saying? That you hear from people like Officer Tatum, that you hear from people like Black Conservative Perspective, these people that are idiots, that have literally no connection with anything going on, that don't even watch the news for anything other than any kind of media fodder that they can find to attempt to make black people look bad, which in turn gets them no conservative support. Because you got to ask yourself the question, how many Democratic voters have black conservative flipped? And the answer is 0, because they have ineffective messaging. They only get paid to perpetuate white supremacist talking points. You know what I'm saying? So these things are important. These are important optics, especially in the era, shout out to Black Alpha Network, in the era of erasure. Like, I don't know if I've heard anybody else say that term, the era of erasure, but I heard Black Alpha Network say that. And I think that that's a perfect phrase for what is going on. This is the era of erasure. So that's one thing that's extremely important, is to having these kind of exchanges documented. Documentation is key. You know what I'm saying?
I supported Mayor Brandon Johnson. I feel like a fool right now.
Yes.
I feel like a plum fool.
As the failure of federal policies is what's impacting Chicago in a dramatic way. Tanya and Terrell.
All right, so now here's my question. Is it the failure of federal policy? Now, all of these mayors, they're all going to the border. They're making a run for the border like they're about to get some Taco Bell from back in 1990. Mayor Eric Adams has arrived in Mexico. And I believe that this was yesterday when he showed up. What's up, son? I'm here. I'm down here on the border. And I'm going to tell these migrants, stay here. Go back home. Go back to Mexico. Word is born, do not come to New York. You know what I'm saying? Do not come to New York City. Mayor Eric Adams arrives in Mexico to kick off his migrant discouragement tour. Listen here, son. You ain't got to go home, okay? But you got to go the hell away from here.
We are pulling off now to head to Mexico to speak with
They must have gave Eric Adams either some Stativa or they gave him some Ativan, because he ain't as hype as he usually be. He looked like Russell Simmons and he looked like he about to pass out. Shout out to Ricky Jones. What's good with it, bro? Mayor Eric Adams looked like he's about to pass out. Looking like the CEO of Def Jam and shit.
We are pulling off now to head to Mexico to speak with our leaders there and to really start the process of understanding the flow of migrants here to New York City and throughout the entire country. This is the type of conversation I believe we need to look at both local, national, and international to come up with a resolution.
Why Eric Adams being so... Why is Eric Adams being so quiet on the plane, bro? You ain't got to, you know what I'm saying? You ain't got to be all quiet like that. You ain't got to be all quiet like that. Hey, listen here. I got a secret for y'all. You know what I'm saying? I just don't want anybody to know, but I'm trying traveling on this plane right here, and we about to go down to the border. And while I go down to the border, I'm gonna tell some of these migrants, "Yo, stay your ass over there on the other side of the fence." You understand? I'm gonna sit here and sip this cup of Ciroc over here on this plane because you know, my stomach is kind of funny when we up in the air. You know, the human body is not accustomed to being up in the air like 30,000 feet. You know what I'm saying, son? But you know, the faster we get down there, hopefully the sooner we can get this issue taken care of. Oh man, it's not a secret, Mayor. You don't have to whisper. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says Mayor Eric Adams touched down in Mexico City Wednesday evening for the first leg of his 4-day tour in Latin America, where he will try to dissuade migrants from coming to the Big Apple. Adams said before takeoff he plans to, quote unquote, speak with Central and South American leaders there to really start to process the understanding of the flow of migrants here to New York City and throughout the country. I mean, there's nothing to understand except for the fact that they're just coming here. There's nothing to understand except for they're just coming here against advice and against the law. Like that's the only thing that you need to understand, and that's what needs to be dealt with. This is the type of conversation that we believe we need to have, both local and national and international, to come up with a resolution. The mayor whispered in a social media video from his aisle seat while again sporting a hat for the one-win Jets. Listen here, son. I remember the Jets in their heyday. I root for the Jets because if I happen to wear some New York Giants gear, some New York Giants apparel, they'll try to bust me out for actually living in Jersey. And, that's been a rumor circulating about me that I live in Jersey, and it's not true. I'm the mayor of New York. I don't live in Jersey, son. I live in New York, B. You never see me in Hoboken. You know what I'm saying? You never see me over there. You see me in Brooklyn. You see me in Manhattan. You see me in Staten Island, kid. You don't see me over there in Jersey. You know what I mean? I don't know where these rumors come from, but somebody needs to put them to bed. So now here it says Hisner arrived ahead of schedule just before 7 p.m. local time and headed to the historic center of Mexico City, where he was scheduled to speak to business forum leaders and investors at the North Capitol Forum. So yeah, basically this is just some all money ain't good money type shit. Following the event, Adams will do a private tour of the Basilica de Guadalupe. The mayor plans to use his trip, which includes stops in Ecuador and Colombia, to inform migrants of the realities they would face if they decide to head to New York City. He also intends to learn more about the dangerous path asylum seekers are taking to get to the southern border. Cool. If he wants to learn about the asylum seekers and the dangerous path that they take into the southern border, he should walk his ass through that Darien Gap to wherever it is that they want to do the meeting at. You know what I'm saying? I don't live in New York. I don't like them big ass rats, Shamika. You understand? They scared me. I like it at least where it's just the size of a mouse. You understand? I don't really like the rats. The rats, sometimes when you go outside, you're running around down there in Manhattan and Lower Manhattan and Lower East Side Manhattan, over there on D Avenue, those rats can get to be the size of a small dog. And I don't really like that. You know what I'm saying? Those things, sometimes they can carry rabies, and the resources here in the Big Apple, the Gotham resources are already stretched to capacity. These resources are out here stretched like Sukihana, and we can barely get anything to anybody. It's a mess down here. Biden's not picking up the phone. Kamala Harris is playing speed dates while her husband is at home playing the piano. It's just a mess. I'm gonna run as a Republican next year. Oh man, E. Adams, you know what I'm saying? It's bad business for you, homeboy. He also intends to learn more about the dangerous path. Yeah, take a hike down that Darien Gap. You know what I'm saying? See what it do. We are also going to tell them that coming to New York doesn't mean you want to stay in a 5-star hotel, Adams said on Tuesday. You was the one making luxury boats. How many of y'all remember when they was gutting out them luxury boats so that the migrants could sit on the luxury boats in the harbor? You know what I'm saying? We cleared out the harbor for the for the migrants. You know what I'm saying? We put them up here on a boat. You know what I mean? Shout out to DSB. DSB said he don't do rats either. I ain't mad at that. We're gonna send him to Patterson, New Jersey. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you guys throw some radiation emoji in the chat for the first stream sponsor, DSB. Shout out to DSB. So now here it says, it doesn't mean that when you come here, you're going to automatically be allowed to work. See, the realities are, if you come to the Big Apple, because of the processing times and everything going on here, being short-staffed and everything else, you might not be able to work as soon as you get here. So you're not going to have any money. You're going to be stuck somewhere with a cot, 300 cots to a room. It's hot in there because we can't afford to turn the heat on. The air condition breaks frequently, and it's going to be sweaty. You're going to smell like hot sauce in there. Is that what you want? Did you come to the United States to smell like hot sauce? Sounding like the mad rapper. You know what I'm saying? The migrants is sounding like, give me the loot. Man, listen, all this walking is hurting my feet. Ooh, money looks sweet. Where at? In the Isuzu Jeep. I want to give the people of those areas a real story of what's happening in New York City, he said. All they got to do is listen to some rap music. They'll know. Go put on one of them Dave East albums. That should tell you exactly what's going on. You feel me? Right, Torian, you feel me? You smell me? You understand? All you got to do is listen to one of them Dave East albums and you'll know exactly what's going on in New York. You know? So now here it says the trip comes as the number of daily asylum seekers arriving soars, with the city recording more than 800 migrants in a single day, twice the prior average. The administration has floated scheduling a trip to raise the profile of the crisis that has overwhelmed New York's shelter system, but has been previously shot down. On Thursday, the mayor will visit migrant sites south of the border at Puebla, Mexico, before jetting to Quito, Ecuador the following day. He will spend his final day in Bogota, Colombia, where he plans to head to Darien Gap. Oh, he is going to the Darien Gap, a dangerous jungle path where that smugglers may use to bring asylum seekers from South America to North America. I can't wait. I hope he record a video from the Darien Gap. Mayor Eric Adams finna go to the Darien Gap. Yo, son, it was wild down there, B. I don't know how the migrants do it, son. I was walking, I was knee deep in the swamp, and next thing I know, there was a giant python that came up out of the water. But thank God that J-Lo and Ice Cube was there, and they saved me from it. So I think I'm gonna lay off for talking shit about hip hop. Yeah, I want to see Erica Adams go to the Darien Gap. I want to see him hike it. That's what I want to see. Damn, I bet you he's gonna say something corny like, "Man, we need to build a subway system through here." You're gonna say something corny as hell like that. Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to my man DSB, the second stream sponsor, who is also a member of BLR2, for hitting the membership on BLR1. Make sure that you guys show some love, throw some radiation emoji in the chat for DSB. Definitely appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to you. So, you know, we talked about the right to shelter law that they have in New York City. You know what I'm saying? Eric Adams trying to get like Rihanna and show everybody who run this town tonight. Eric Adams trying to get on his Rihanna. He trying to show him who run this town tonight. You know what I'm saying? New York City moves to suspend the right to shelter as migrant influx continues. Now, let me ask you guys a question. Do you all think that this is going to go anywhere? Is he going to be able to successfully do this? I would hope so. I think that if this would go to the Supreme Court, they'd actually be able to get this changed. You know what I'm saying? And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you guys show some love to my man DeAndre, longtime supporter with the $1 super chat, third stream sponsor. Definitely appreciate it. Make sure you guys show him some love. You know what I'm saying? So how many people know about the right to shelter? We got to put it right there on Mayor Adams' face. You know what I'm saying? His head sitting up there looking like one of those potato bread hamburger buns. You know what I'm saying? With the sesame seeds on it. So we're going to sit on his face like that. You know what I'm saying? Pause. Where Kid Gravity at? Pause. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says New York City is challenging a unique legal agreement that requires it to provide emergency housing to anyone who asks for it. So again, I don't think that this is meant for non-citizens. Let me ask you guys a question. Do you all think that if a higher court like the Supreme Court in the United States interprets this law, they're going to interpret it to where just this is meant for anybody? Oh, shout out to Maggie. Maggie said keto is pronounced like key. Thank you. Definitely appreciate it. And ladies and gentlemen, shout out to my man DSB, the fourth stream sponsor with the $5 super sticker. Definitely appreciate it. Throw some radiation emoji in the chat and show some love to DSB. So now here it says, as the city's shelter system strains under a large influx of international migrants who have arrived since last year. Now, mind you, one thing that people should not forget is that the majority of these, I shouldn't say the majority, but all of these migrants are not just Latino migrants. These are migrants from all over the world. Mayor Eric Adams said that himself at a press conference. And also, make sure you guys make it rain. Show some love to my man, Lloyd Sky 9 with the $5 super chat. He said it wasn't letting me donate on desktop for some reason. Great stream. I appreciate you, bro. Appreciate it. I hope you guys are enjoying. You know what I'm saying? We got more streams to come. So make sure you guys are tapped in. You know what I'm saying? If you're not getting notifications, then just hit that link that's pinned in the chat. That'll take you to the Reacts Discord, and you'll be able to get the links, or you'll be able to get the notification, not just for my streams, but from YouTubers that I watch and that I support as well. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says the city filed a request late Tuesday asking a court to allow it to suspend the requirement when there is a state of emergency where the shelter population of a single adult increases at a rapid rate. The filing came as Mayor Eric Adams embarks on a 4-day trip through Latin America starting Wednesday in Mexico. Now, here goes my question. If many of these migrants are not just coming from Latin America, then what is the point of Eric Adams going to quote unquote Latin America to observe the quote unquote migrant crisis? A lot of these migrants are also coming from international places. Eric Adams himself said that there was Chinese migrants. He said that there was Russian migrants. He said that there was African migrants. So if you go to Latin America, I'm assuming, unless Latin America is taking in a lot of those people and then sending them north, how is that going to address the source of where they're coming from? You know what I'm saying? That to me is the bigger question. And to me, like, that's the most important question, because it's that influx, that number there that needs to be addressed. Okay. So now here it says he will discourage people from coming to New York, telling them the city's shelter system is at capacity and its resources are overwhelmed. Now, here goes my question. Do you all think that the migrants will listen to Eric Adams, or do you think that they're just going to come anyway? What do you guys think is going to happen? The city has been moving to suspend the so-called right to shelter for months under the surge of migrants, arguing that the requirement was never intended to be applied to a humanitarian crisis such as the latest influx. If you ask me, it would be easier to show that it was only intended for citizens of the United States who are homeless. I think it might be kind of difficult for them to say during a humanitarian crisis. You know what I'm saying? I think it would be easier to try to make the case, well, this was intended for American citizens. So now here it says the shelter requirement has been in place for more than 4 decades in New York City, following a legal agreement struck in 1981 that required the city to provide temporary housing for quote unquote every homeless person. Now, to me, the key to getting this struck down to where it doesn't, to where they don't have to take in all these migrants, is to define every homeless person. This has to be defined, if you ask me. You know what I'm saying? Would you guys agree? If you guys agree with that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. And shout out to my man DSB again with the $10 super chat. Definitely appreciate it. DSB says, hey, all you want, YouTube. We're going to keep supporting the family. And I definitely appreciate it. And I will definitely keep putting out content for y'all. You You know what I'm saying? Like I said, got a bunch more streams coming up. You know what I'm saying? It's probably going to be like after me and TD go live, it'll probably be about like a 6 to 8 hour gap, maybe even a 10-hour gap, and then we'll start right back up again. You know what I'm saying? No other big city in America has such a requirement. With more than 122,700 asylum seekers having come through our intake system since the spring of 2022, and the projected cost of over $12 billion for 3 years, it is abundantly clear that the status quo cannot continue. Adams, a Democrat, said in a statement, New York City cannot continue to do this alone. My thing is, regardless if New York City is getting help or not, New York City shouldn't even attempt to continue to do this at all. I think it was Mayor Eric Adams that said it, but I think it's more than obvious that this is not sustainable. It's not sustainable. You know what I'm saying? Adams had heralded the shelter requirement at the start of the crisis as a display of the city's empathy toward asylum seekers. In months since, his rhetoric has hardened as the city has spent more than $1 billion to rent space in hotels, erect large emergency shelters, and provide government services for migrants who arrive without housing or jobs. This issue will destroy New York City, Adams said last month. I don't believe that Mayor Eric Adams' rhetoric has hardened. I believe that Mayor Eric Adams is more so verbalizing his frustration with resource inavailability. If Eric Adams had the resources to take in all of these migrants, he would still be taking them in. I don't believe that his rhetoric has changed at all. If you ask me, he still wants to take in the migrants. So his rhetoric has not hardened. His rhetoric has only hardened in terms of he's now attempting to demand more assistance from the federal government, or demanding federal government intervention because New York City cannot handle this on its own. You know what I'm saying? And we all know what needs to be done as far as handling it. They just choose not to do it. The mayor has also recently tightened New York shelter rules by limiting adult migrants to just 30 days in city-run facilities amid overcrowding. Josh Goldfein, a staff attorney at the Legal Aid Society, said the city's request, if successful, would be disastrous for the city. Now, here's my question. How would it be disastrous for the city? That's my question for you guys. This lawyer here is saying that this would be disastrous for the city. I don't see it being disastrous for the city. But my question for you guys is, do you all see it being disastrous for the city? And if you do see it being disastrous for the city, what type of disaster do you see it causing? You know what I'm saying? What is the alternative? If we do not have a right to shelter, if we are turning people away from the shelter system, if people are now living in the streets, in the subways, in the parks, is that the outcome that they want? He said. What needs to happen is all of those contact point numbers that I talked about earlier, those numbers need to be reduced to a minimum, and that will make the border crisis manageable. If they're not addressing those contact points to reduce those circulating numbers, they're not addressing the problem. It's very, very, very simple. You know what I'm saying? This is something that we have not seen in decades. I don't think any New Yorker wants to see that. I don't think city officials want to see that, but that will be the result if they prevail here. All right. So again, that would be the result if they prevail there and they continue to send migrants to those cities. Now, something else that those people in the localities need to do, those people in the localities need to make it where the southern states can be prosecuted for sending them to their areas once they've gotten rid of their sanctuary city status. Look at this right here. They've turned New York City into looking like where they came from. What's the point in coming somewhere if you don't like the conditions there and you turn where you're at into where you came from? This looks like a third world country. That looks terrible. Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to everybody that's watching. We got 53 people watching and we got 57 likes. If everybody can bang on that like button and get us over 100, that would be great. This is a bad look. Migrants to street sleep in New York City bid to nix right to shelter critics. All right, this is really shameful. An advocate said about Mayor Eric Adams' effort to suspend the city's right to shelter for adults. My question is, what else are they supposed to do? Now, this is an opinion piece, right? So I'm not really gonna read, this opinion piece, but I just wanted to show you guys this picture because opinion pieces, a lot of times, opinion pieces are cool, especially if they reference factual information. But this is an opinion piece that's not referencing factual information. This is somebody who just wants impossible things to happen, miracles to occur where it's impossible to make a miracle occur. Okay. So this is interesting here because a bunch of American officials are bringing concerns about migration to meetings in Mexico. Okay. And I'm not exactly sure what meetings that these are in Mexico. I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. I don't know if this is what they're talking about as far as Eric Adams when he went to Central America, or if this is something completely different. All right. But Associated Press dropped this article here about U.S. officials bring concerns about migration to meetings in Mexico. So now if you can see, here go these people doing the great train escape. You know what I'm saying? They sitting up there on that train like Heisenberg and Jesse Pinkman. You ain't supposed to be doing that. You're supposed to be bringing your ass over here and sitting down somewhere. Look at this. Oh, let me see if they got. Okay. Yeah, they don't have no music, so that's good. See all those people on that train? Look at this. Hold on real quick. Look at this. Look at all them damn people on that train. Now, where do you get that kind of experience from to do that? You think they learned that at their local junior college? I don't think that they did. You know what I'm saying? This is crazy. They chilling on this damn train. Graffitied up. Chilling. Sitting on the top. Who gonna sit on a damn train like that? Carrying you hundreds of miles away. You know what I'm saying? Coming from all these different countries, just riding on a damn train. They got bonfires sitting out there. Say sometimes the train stop and immigration officials try to persuade the migrants who are heading for the Mexican border with Texas to get off. They're not getting off that damn train. Who arrives somewhere like this? Where the families at? How many families have y'all seen? I see a bunch of men ages 20 to 50. Look at this. Look at this. Hold on real quick. They said immigration stopped us. They didn't let us pass, but we didn't get off the train because that's what they want, for us to get off the train and send us back. Yeah, yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's you got it. So they know that they're breaking the law. Oh, we don't know what we're doing. Yeah, you do. You know what I'm saying? You know you're breaking the damn law. And if this ain't proof that they're breaking the law, wait till y'all see this next article. They're just doing some off the hook stuff. But real quick though, I just want y'all to notice how my man, he had on the jacket with the matching socks though. The matching Nike socks. My man right here got the LA Raiders or the LA Dodgers hat. I'm just saying, like, okay.
Amiga.
Why don't they have armed military guards on the train to deter people from getting on there? Like, I don't understand why they don't have that. Wouldn't that make sense if people are hijacking these trains to have like armored guards, you know, police, what else? You know, police and National Guard and stuff like that. Somebody on these damn trains that can make sure that the trains aren't being abused. Wouldn't that make sense? Because these trains are clearly being abused. You know what I mean?
Tenía 5 meses, pero todavía no se me notaba. Y pues pensé que llegaba en un mes. Y ya pasaron 4 meses.
So she was 5 months pregnant going through the Darien Gap and on the train. So we got Bionic Woman. we got south of the Bordarian Bionic Women, you know what I'm saying, who doing the Mission Impossible thing with a belly full of kids. Like, it's all bad. We got superhumans coming up here. Man, how you just chilling like you tailgating at a damn football game? Man, listen here. Mexico City. U.S. officials worried by rising migration took their concerns south of the border this week with separate trips to Mexico by high-level Biden administration officials and New York City's mayor. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken discussed migration with his Mexican counterpart, Alicia Barcina, as well as foreign ministers from Panama and Colombia on Wednesday. Talks were scheduled to continue Thursday, including a meeting between U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland and President Andres Manuel López Obrador. López Obrador said Thursday during his daily news briefing that Mexico has reiterated talks in its position that there should be investment to spur development in the countries that migrants leave. That's interesting. The people don't abandon their towns because they want to, but rather out of necessity, the president said. He also criticized Biden's administration's announcement yesterday that it waived 26 federal laws in South Texas to allow border wall construction. López Obrador had previously praised Biden for not building more border wall during his presidency. So now my question is, why is the Mexican president invested in the border wall not being built? I think that that's something that people should pay attention to. That's kind of interesting, right? Mayor Eric Adams is traveling through Latin America, so we know all that. We talked about that from the last article, so we don't need to go through that. Okay. So here's what one particular thing that's going on in Texas. Okay. Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you guys show some love to my man AB Promotions with the $9.99 super chat, the 7th stream sponsor. Shout out to him. Make sure you guys show some love, throw some radiation emoji in the chat. All right. My man AB Promotion says, Rob, side note off topic, but you was talking about eugenics and I didn't realize how many families are involved. Follow the money. Apologies for the sidetrack. Nah, bro, that's big facts. And we got to actually get back into that. We got to talk about that. Like, I'm telling you, bro, there's so many streams that I got to do to try to catch up on all of the content. Undocumented Bros has been getting a lot more airtime than they deserve, but that's what happens when you got people just breaking the law. You got people just breaking the law. They taking up all the damn room down there at the border, taking up all the shelters and taking up all the space on the live stream. It's just crazy. I'm doing an undocumented amount of undocumented content. Like, this is ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Is that Mexico's president or they prime minister? Do they have a prime minister? I don't know what they got down there, Black Lightning. What do they got? Do they got a president? All I know, the only thing that I know for certain that they got down there is a bunch of people trying to cross the southern border. That's the only thing that I know that's guaranteed down there. And a bunch of people on the back of some trains and shit. So now here at this Texas ranch, the owner says that DPS arrested hundreds of migrants without his consent. Why would they need his consent to arrest migrants? He probably had them working illegally on his ranch. But I mean, this is weird, isn't it? So a ranch owner is contesting hundreds of migrants arrested on his land in Eagles Pass along the Rio Grande, saying state troopers working for Governor Greg Abbott never had permission to initiate the crackdown there this summer. I mean, were you housing illegals? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Why would you? I don't. Okay. Beer Junefin's lawyer said he never authorized the arrest, and he has repeatedly asked that more than 650 trespassing cases be dropped. You would think that this guy would want all these people off of his property unless he was housing them for favors or something. You know what I'm saying? The Department of Public Safety said Junefin agreed verbally, and the local county attorney has continued to prosecute the migrants under the premise that some of the ranchers' text messages amount to written consent. So I wonder what this guy said. Junefin's attorney, Democratic State Representative Eddie Morales Jr., said the rancher and his family are being thrust into the limelight without really wanting it. Shit. If you had 650 migrants on your property, you wanted some kind of attention. Would you guys agree? If you have 650 migrants on your property all in one place, you definitely wanted some form of attention, my guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not about to sit up here and play this game. The dispute comes as the tiny border city is seeing a surge in crossings and throws into question the legal footing of the charges. Arrests on the property made up many of the trespassing charges filed under Abbott's sweeping border initiative known as Operation Lone Star through last month. Now, I did a video about Operation Lone Star. How many people saw that video that I did about Operation Lone Star? If you guys saw it, give me a thumbs up. If y'all didn't see it, then give me a thumbs down. More broadly, the conflict highlights the tenuous nature of the catch and jail scheme at the heart of Operation Lone Star. The state's ability to charge migrants with trespassing hinges on landowners' consent. DPS has written agreements to make arrests on 354 properties along the border, said Victor Escalon, a DPS director overseeing South Texas. Junefin is the first landowner to ask the agency to stop the arrests on their property, he said. So now my thing is, you got to ask yourself, well, why would he ask them to stop? And if he's asking them to stop, then that means at some point he authorized it. So at some point you authorized this. You know what I'm saying? Junefin, who co-owns the 2,000-acre ranch and does not live there, contends a chunk of the arrest documents bearing his name are flat out wrong. Many of them say he signed a formal agreement with the state, which he did not, and that his sister gave permission for the arrest, even though she doesn't own the land. The migrants' defense lawyers, how do migrants got defense lawyers? He's probably paying for them. How the hell do migrants got defense lawyers? Think about that. Where y'all get defense lawyer money from? The migrants' defense lawyers believe the cases against their clients are built on false information and should be thrown out. Many of the migrants, however, have pleaded guilty because they're guilty. You know what I'm saying? Many of the migrants have pleaded guilty because they're guilty. That's why they pleaded guilty. This is a complete miscarriage of justice and highlights the problematic nature of the Operation Lone Star prosecution system, said Amthura Jindal, an attorney with the Lubbock Private Defender's Office, which appoints lawyers for migrants charged in 7 counties. The hundreds of people arrested on the Junefin property are asylum seekers. They're not trying to sneak into the United States, but they did sneak into the United States to get there. That's why they in Eagles Pass. That's literally why they're there in Eagles Pass. Trespassing is a minor state crime, but Abbott has deployed the charge as a way to go after migrants who can usually only be detained by federal immigration officials. The bulk of the agency's agreements with landowners are in the Del Rio and Laredo sectors, which include 10 counties along the U.S.-Mexico border, Echelon said. Okay, so I don't think that we need to read the rest of this, quote unquote, right now. Like I said, I'm going to definitely bust out another undocumented bros. The next undocumented bros that I will do will probably be on Blacklight Revelations news, reviews, and reactions. And, you know, there won't be any commercials over there. Or it could possibly be on BLR2. I'm thinking it's going to be on news, reviews, and reactions, though. So if you're not subscribed to Blacklight Revelations news, reviews, and reactions, please take a moment. Make sure you guys subscribe to that channel. Also, make sure you guys subscribe to all my backup channels. We're going to definitely go back into this later on, and that stuff is probably not going to start until like around 8 or 9 o'clock p.m. tonight, so be looking for it on your home screen. I appreciate everybody who checked out the stream. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to you guys. I definitely appreciate it. I want to go over the stream sponsors real quick. So make sure you guys show some love and throw some radiation emoji in the chat for the stream sponsors. All right, we're going to go through them real quick. Shout out to DSB with the $2 super chat. Shout out to DSB for joining BLR1. Shout out to my man DeAndre with the $1 super chat. Shout out to DSB with the $5 super chat. Shout out to my man Lloyd Sky 9 with the $5 super chat. Shout out to DSB again with the $10 super chat. And shout out to my man AB Promotions with the $9.99 super chat. Shout out to you guys. I really appreciate you guys. You guys are the reason why I try to put out as much content that I put out. You guys and AdSense are the only source of funding that my channel gets. So you all know that the information that I give is as unbiased and as easy to understand, presentable, and as beneficial as I can possibly make it. All right. And make sure you guys watch the stream all the way through, because it'll take you to TD's stream, which is coming up. And ladies and gentlemen, I just want to tell y'all this.